Welcome to RVS Virtual Village Hall. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make bold screen prints using some really basic items. You'll need a photo frame with the glass and the back removed, some fine fabric such as net curtain, muslin or chiffon, a staple gun, plain newsprint like the stuff they wrap your fish and chips in, a pencil, scissors and a craft knife, acrylic or fabric paint and an old credit card. Lay the fabric down and lay the frame on top. Make sure that you leave about 1.5 inches or 4 centimetres around the side. Trim any excess if you need to. Begin by attaching the fabric to one side of the frame. Using the staple gun, start in the middle and work outwards. Pull the fabric tight on the other side, bringing the fabric over the frame, again at the centre point. Attach the fabric to the frame, working outwards from the centre point, pulling the fabric taut. Then do the same with the other sides to the frame. Working from the centre, pulling that fabric tight and attaching it with the staple gun. Finish off by trimming around the edges. The overlapping fabric on the side can just be folded in and stapled in. I've started by cutting out a cardboard template of my design. You can do this freehand or print it from the internet. One thing to make sure is that you don't make it any wider than the credit card that you're going to be printing with. I've cut it out as a cardboard template because I want 3 matching leaves. This will make sure that each one is exactly the same. I'm positioning my leaves down the centre of the paper, like so, making sure that I leave enough room either side and at the top and the bottom for our ink to go and to be able to print. Then it's time to cut the stencil out. Remember, where the holes are in the stencil, that's where the ink will go, and where you leave the paper, that's where the ink can't get through. So just some tips on using a craft knife. You're cutting with the first couple of millimetres of the blade. Don't hold it like a pen, but hold it nice and low to the paper. Push firmly but not too hard, and as you cut, turn the paper rather than turning yourself. You also need to make sure that the blade is really sharp. At this point you start to get a clearer idea how the stencil is going to look. If I take this away from you, then that really becomes apparent. I want my print to have these tiny holes in the leaves. So although I call it a stencil, it's not a stencil in the traditional sense of the word, because I can place these small holes onto my leaves and I don't actually need a bridging part to connect them like you would on a traditional stencil. So I'm just going to cut out these holes and then place them on. I find it easier to use scissors for this bit, and because all the holes are the same size and the same shape, I just fold the paper over a few times and then cut the shape out. If you're printing onto fabric, then lay a piece of paper down. That'll stop any ink that goes through the fabric from making a mess. Lay the fabric or the paper onto a flat surface. Place your stencil on top. Place those tiny parts that we cut out in their positions. Top, making sure that you leave space either side and at the top and the bottom. Then apply the paint to the screen. This needs to be just above the cutout and just slightly wider as well. Using the credit card as a squeegee, place it the far side of the paint, press down nice and firmly, holding it at an angle of just off of 45 degrees, and push down and pull towards you. Then we're going to lift the stencil and the screen whilst holding down the fabric. 1, 2, 3, nice and quick, go. And there you have your screen print. Made with some paper, a photo frame, an old net curtain and a credit card.